This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let me ask, because you said you didn't think that, or a lot of folks, not just yourself, but a lot of folks on the inside felt like, for whatever reason, that Hall and Nash wouldn't make a big difference. Do you mean as far as a net positive? Because perhaps there was the whisper campaign of, hey, these guys are going to be shit disturbers and create some political unrest or what have you. Or did you think nobody wants to pay to see them? Because that's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around.
I think more than anything, it was the backstage environment and people not wanting to deal with them from a business standpoint. Look, I from Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, I think both of them are names, and I think both of them are draws. NWO, WWE, however you want to look at it.
Right.
Always been a fan. You're talking about a spot in time in 2002 where I don't know that, they didn't matter on the way out of WCW.
So you're saying, and perhaps this is something we should frame up properly. Perception is reality. That if they were perceived in the locker room as being guys who would be difficult to do business with, then maybe they were going to be coming in with an uphill battle no matter what.
I do, but I also think that had they been, guys that everyone was looking forward to hanging out backstage with, that would have helped get over that hump. And by the way, as I say that, keep in mind, it really doesn't matter if you get along backstage as long as you can draw money and do business.
Yes.
However, when you're asking people, what do you think about this? Your personal feelings are always going to enter into that answer, no matter what.
So, there's a lot to talk about here, but do you remember there being anybody specifically excited about them coming back? Like, oh man, I could see myself doing great matches with this guy or that guy. I'm not saying necessarily it was Rock or Austin or whoever, but do you remember there being anybody in particular when you close your eyes and you think back to that time? Maybe there's some negative voices here or there, but man, I remember this one guy, he was fired up about it.
I don't.
I
really don't. I think that, to a point, anybody, so for example, Jericho had been down there with those guys, and I think that some people would argue that, he may have felt stifled with them being around. And whether that's true or not, there's definitely that perception. So for people that had never been around them, they're like, they'd all heard the rumor and innuendo and all the other gaga out there. Again, perceived or otherwise, that was out there. So for guys that had never worked with them, I think that there was a little bit of trepidation.
Right.
For guys who had, there was a little bit of, oh boy, I remember how that affected me.
Right.
So, you're fighting on all fronts. And for me, again, when you talk about, those guys coming in as a unit, I'm looking at it going, I just didn't feel that the NWO in 2002 was something that people were clamoring for. To have Hulk Hogan return to WWE as a heel, it was something that had never been done. So I was very in favor of that. To have Scott Hall and Kevin Nash back on the roster, I was very in favor of that. Not the NWO. And there was a bit of, frankly, there was a bit of trepidation with Hall and Nash. But again, I never really had that big of a problem with them ever.
I realize I'm putting you on the spot here, but there was a lot of talk once upon a time from Steve Austin before he came into the company about how much he wanted to work with Hulk Hogan, because in the WCW days, boy, that's how you punched your ticket, man. If you wanted to move up the card, I guess that went back to the WWF as well. You worked with Hulk Hogan. So there's even the story that, man, Austin loved the idea of being Hulk's brother or cousin or some sort of family member. He would have been playing second fiddle to him. But at the time, again, context is king. He was stunning Steve Austin. Well, of course it didn't work. He wound up getting let go. He's now set the business on fire, and unmistakably, he is the top star in the business here when the NWO is coming back now. Did he have a chip on his shoulder, in your opinion, about Hulk coming in? Would he have been receptive or still looking forward to that? Or did he want nothing to do with it, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think that Steve, like everybody else, wanted them to come in and prove themselves and be other than what they were elsewhere. It was like, okay, hey man, the business has changed and this company has changed.
Right.
If you can fit in to what the company is now, then more power to you. And we're happy to have you. And let's go work together and make something right. If you're looking for everyone else to conform to you, then that ain't gonna work.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.